Oh, didn't see you there. My name is Matthew Phillips.
I'm Chris Burns.
I'm Lupita Lopez.
I'm Matt Hill.
And I'm Rex Tesler.
And we're Fourth and One. Today, we're going to be talking about American coffee culture.
So wake me up in the spring while I'm high off my American dream.
Culture is the customs, art, social institutions, and achievements of a particular nation, people, or other social group.
Coffee is a brewed drink prepared from roasted coffee beans that come from a plant that was originally discovered in Ethiopia.
Coffee has now become a necessity for many Americans and has been deeply ingrained in many people's lifestyles. Throughout this documentary, we'll be covering the topics of
History,
traditions,
language,
clothing,
music,
food,
religion,
and significant contributions to the United States.
We'll now be describing the brief history of coffee.
Where did the origin of coffee come from? Why is it that people around the world drink coffee? I would discover that prior to about 800 CE, people didn't drink coffee. The first coffee drinkers were in Ethiopia. The Turks and the Arabs and the Muslims began to adopt the coffee drinking. The story is that the Dutch East India Company saw coffee as a great commodity to trade. Unfortunately, they didn't have coffee beans. And so they smuggled coffee beans out of the Middle East and then planted them in places where they thought they would grow. The Dutch East India Company was, by this point, everywhere in the world. So coffee now is grown on 5 different continents where it originated only on one. As people began to move to cities, no longer were they working in the farms where they would work from sun up till sundown. Now factories in cities were staying open round the clock. So development of coffee became connected to the workplace. It wasn't unusual for factories to say, we'll work 3-4 hours and then we'll give you a break. What kind of break? A coffee break. Coffee is a very bitter drink, not typical to the kind of things that were in the diet of, for example, Europeans or Americans. So they needed something to sweeten up the coffee. Hence, sugar became incredibly important in sustaining coffee. So then that connects us to the sugar plantations, and hence we're now connected to even the slave trade.
Lots of people have different traditions and customs when it comes to drinking coffee. With this comes different stereotypes of coffee drinkers.
Hey Lupita, how's your morning going?
No.
Like, how's it going?
No, like, just do not talk to me. I have not had my morning coffee. I just can't right now.
Okay.
No, like in the mornings, I just need my coffee. I cannot function without my coffee. Like literally one time we were on vacation and I had access to like no coffee and I was just grumpy the whole time.
So, is there any way I can get a mocha iced coffee, please?
So you probably got this.
Coffee shouldn't be hot. Honestly, it should be refreshing. To be honest, I don't really like warm things in my mouth.
Chill.
When it's hot out, I can walk around with my iced coffee and no one would care. But when it's cold out, people suddenly have a problem with it.
How's your morning? Do you need creamer or sugar?
I'm a black coffee drinker, okay? Black coffee only.
Alright.
I strictly drink black coffee and black coffee only. I'm strictly about my business and being serious all the time. Even my phone is serious and has no distractions. See this right here? 0 games, 0 game applications. My Fridays and Saturday nights, I won't even go out. I'll watch documentaries and read the newspaper while drinking a cup of black coffee, of course.
Oh, there's my alarm. I like to have a cup of coffee about every hour. I usually try to chug the entire cup in under 5 seconds to make sure to get the full effects of the caffeine. That way, I can be energized throughout my day. Yeah, usually takes me about 3 to 4 cups to get through every DQ assignment because they take so long. You know, some people would say I'm addicted to drinking coffee, but I would more just say I really like it.
Coffee culture has a lot of specific terms in itself, many of which come from the Italian language. Most of the language includes specific coffee blend and roast names.
The coffee industry is full of lots of jargon that isn't used in common conversation. It can be very confusing. To better understand the language, it is helpful to look through the eyes of a barista who has vast knowledge of the terminology and definitions of these words. Some common coffee beverage words include Americano, cappuccino, chai, espresso, flat white, frappe, iced coffee, latte, latte macchiato, normal macchiato, and a mocha. These are just a few of the many terms that are used within the coffee world. Some of their definitions include, for example, an Americano is just an espresso diluted with hot water to the consistency of drip coffee. Another example is a chai latte, which is a spiced Indian tea beverage with varying ingredients. These are just a few of the terms that one may not know the definition of within the coffee language. What are your guys' favorite coffee drinks to order?
Starbucks, vanilla latte, or what do you like? Starbucks vanilla latte. Vanilla latte or peppermint mocha. Agreed.
What's your favorite coffee drink?
White chocolate mocha.
What's your favorite kind of coffee to drink?
I really like chai lattes.
What's your go-to drink if you go to Starbucks or your favorite coffee shop?
Tall dark coffee.
What's your favorite type of coffee?
Alright, I'm gonna go with caramel macchiato from Einstein's Bagels.
What's your favorite type of coffee?
I would say caramel iced coffee with cream.
Clothing styles vary a lot within coffee shops. Clothing can range from comfy pajamas to business attire. As I stated earlier, clothing styles vary a lot within coffee culture because coffee is drunken at lots of different places and times. For example, it is very common for people to roll out of bed in their PJs and have a cup of coffee. It is also extremely common for people to grab a cup of coffee on their way to work or have a cup of coffee while at work wearing a suit and tie. These two clothing styles are on polar opposite sides of the spectrum of casual versus professional dress, yet they are both commonly worn while drinking coffee. People also often meet up with friends to talk over a cup of coffee while wearing normal day-to-day casual clothes. Or maybe they will dress up a little nicer if they are meeting to have a coffee date. Pretty much any clothing you can think of is worn while drinking coffee. From business attire, to pajamas, to sweats, to gym clothes, to casual attire. When it comes to drinking coffee, anything goes.
Music genres vary a lot depending upon the type of coffee shop. However, typical coffee music is relaxing and non-distracting.
Every coffee shop plays its own genre of music. The music helps create a positive experience in the coffee shop. Whether it be jazz, classical, or a more modern genre, it is always soft and relaxing music. It is generally played loud enough to hear, but not too loud so that you can hear the person next to you. Music is important to each individual coffee shop because it creates a certain vibe for the customers. While people might not notice it, if the music creates a good vibe, customers will be more likely to come back.
Whether it's ground or brewed, coffee is a great addition to many common foods and treats.
Coffee comes alive in the company of certain foods. When you combine the right flavors, those on the plate will complement what's in your cup. Suddenly, your coffee could taste smoother, sweeter, or richer perhaps. Every pairing is unique and would take your coffee experience to new heights. Food at coffee houses is becoming a strong part of the menu. Not every customer who comes to the coffee shop is all about coffee. These shops can show their clients by serving high-quality, fresh, and creative food that everyone may love, ultimately convincing customers to taste more interesting coffees. Almost every coffee shop sells pastries, breakfast foods, and small sandwiches. For example, some of these foods include bagels, muffins, donuts, croissants, scones, and much more.
What kind of food do you guys like to eat with your coffee?
Scones.
Yeah, usually scones or muffins or something.
Yeah.
What kind of food do you like to eat with your coffee?
Bacon Gouda breakfast sandwich from Starbucks is already good.
What kind of food do you usually like to eat with coffee?
Probably like banana bread or like some type of pumpkin bread or a croissant.
What's your favorite thing to eat with coffee?
Probably like a blueberry muffin.
While there is no specific religion aligned with coffee, many people feel an important spiritual connection with drinking it.
Coffee has influenced many things throughout history. It even had an impact on religion. Coffee contributed to the shaping of Christian and the Muslim religions as well. Coffee was extremely popular throughout the Islamic world. Since the Muslim religion prohibits the consumption of alcohol, coffee houses became the alternative to taverns. As a result, Muslims would go there to these coffee houses where they recited prayers with one another. Many of the religious events also took place in the presence of coffee. This drink became so beloved that they would often praise its stimulating effects for keeping them alert during long prayer recitations. Meanwhile, in Europe, opponents against Muslims were overly cautious of coffee, calling the beverage the bitter invention of Satan. With the coming of coffee to Venice in the early 1600s, the local Christians condemned it. This then turned to a great controversy. The Pope was then asked to intervene. Pope Clemente VIII asked to taste the beverage himself before making any decisions. He found the drink so satisfying that he gave it his approval.
Coffee within the United States has a huge impact on our economy. It creates small businesses and huge corporations alike. The economic impacts of coffee are widespread and positively affect many people around the world, as it is the second most sought-after commodity in the world. Over 25 million people worldwide have a place to live and food to eat because of the coffee industry. Over 90% of the production happens in developing countries, which provides jobs for many people in need. In America, 54% of people older than 18 drink coffee every day. All this coffee drinking adds up to over $40 billion spent on coffee in the US alone each year. The last fact that proves how much of an impact coffee has on our economy is that there are over 500 billion cups of coffee drank each year worldwide.
All of these coffee sales generate $28 billion in tax and over 1,694,000 jobs. The coffee industry clearly has a very positive impact on the United States. Just for perspective, there are over 200 coffee shops in Tucson alone.
Coffee also positively contributes to our health. For a long time, it was thought that drinking coffee was bad for your heart. However, drinking coffee daily puts you at a lower risk of heart disease, liver cancer, type 2 diabetes, and Parkinson's disease. Studies have also shown that daily consumption of coffee can increase your life expectancy as well.
What's your favorite coffee drink personally?
Personally, just a regular cappuccino. When I first started working here, it was all that like sugary, fun drinks like the white mocha and everything. But now it's switched to either just a black cup of coffee or a cappuccino.
Cool. What would you define coffee culture as?
Each shop has their own unique little culture. Ours here that we try to cultivate is more of a family-owned kind of home for everybody that people just come in.
What is your personal favorite coffee drink?
Oh, I like just iced coffee. We brew it for 24 hours in room temperature back there, in those big 10 gallons, and then it's really smooth, very caffeinated. I like that. Yeah, it's just called toddy, cold brew.
Cool, toddy.
That's what I drink normally, but
Toddy just means cold brew?
Yeah.
That's cool. What would you say is like the most common drink people get here?
Probably the Azteca mocha, because it's frou-frou and a lot of people like it. Pretty much just any drink is fun to make. They're all kind of the same. It's basically just like a 3-step process, but I like making the hot drinks because then you can do the leaf and stuff.
What would you say like coffee culture is?
Coffee culture, every day.
Every day,
Every day is coffee culture.
Okay.
Every day you drink coffee. It's an addiction.
That's right. It's an addiction, yeah.
That's pretty much what coffee culture is. It's a routine. It's seeing the same people every day, making friends, hanging out, smoking on the patio, everything like that, yeah.
What would you say that you like about working in a coffee shop?
In this particular coffee shop, I like that there's like not any turnover. You hang out with your friends all day. The same people pretty much coming in every day because it's right next to the university. Maybe at a different place, it wouldn't be the same way. So you pretty much just get to hang out all day, make drinks, talk to people however you want. I mean, if you worked at Starbucks or something like that, you have to be very robotic.
Follow a lot of rules.
Yeah, follow a lot of rules. Not that those are bad things, but it can hinder you just being yourself, and you can be yourself.
Thank you for watching. We're 4th and 1, and this has been our video about coffee culture.
Smile at me. Like. Okay.
Dream, we don't always say what we